Hi all. Let's get the last bit of this finished. Erasmus playthrough, example of play. And I think the next couple of allied cards are just passes actually. So, well, let's follow it on the flowchart though. So, axis of determination. End game. Opening phase, here we are. Okay. A, do the allies have 3 or more cards? No, we have 1 card. So that's a no. F and G, do the allies have 1 or more passes? Yeah, we've still got 2 passes. And then G, do the allies have 1 card remaining? Yes. Okay, nice and straightforward. They're going to pass. So basically we knock their passes down to 1. And yeah, just move back onto the axis of determination for the Japanese. And just to confirm, just before we do it, there we go. No, F plus G, yes, pass. The allies will pass. Given the chart design, they will pass again next play as well. Okay, so it's already said that they're going to, yeah, I'll go right through that same procedure as we just done, and nothing's changed. So if they've got a pass, then they'll use it. Okay, so what about the Japanese then, with 1 last card in their hand? Which could be interesting because the allies. So the allies still have a card. So, but if they pass again, it means that they'll get. I think this is a sort of tactics, try and get away. You've maybe got 1 or 2 cards left. If you get a card that draws a card, funnily enough, I think we're going to see that now. Remember that, right enough. So, A, are Allied HQs in the Philippines, DI, and Malaya out of supply? Yes, they are. B, are the DI surrender objectives occupied? They are not, so that's no, still. Yeah, we're still missing some of them. Does Japan have 3 or more cards? No. Sorry. Look at the wrong thing there. Was it A, B? B is no. So it's G. Is it game turn 3 or later? No. A plus C plus D is no. And then, yeah, we're going down the same part here again because we don't have 3 or more cards. So all these C conditions that is looking, anything with C and then a plus, we can ignore without looking at anything else. And and just go down the no lines. And then we get to M, has the defense perimeter strategy objective number 1 been achieved? Oh, well, that's maybe a yes this time because, what is it? Defense perimeter strategy. Yeah. So Australian mandates. Oh, there you go. Australian mandates then. Yeah. Mandates. That's, yeah, hang on. Yeah, just try to find out a bit more. Mandates is a sort of an area that you've been given. It's a certain sort of area, isn't it? That you control, that they control. So I think the Australian mandates, these were owned by the Australians, maybe. Okay. Anyway, so, but it did say that it has a defensive perimeter strategy for objective number 1 being achieved, and the defensive perimeter strategy for objective number 1 is Australian mandates, and that has been achieved, hasn't it? Because we've just taken all the hexes. Well, we've not. It's not actually moved on to the national status. That must be the end of the. That must be once we move out of the offensives, surely. Yeah, national status once you go into the political phase. So we've got to have finished the offensives for that to have happened. But, well, unless maybe that doesn't... Yeah, well, it must do. Because there's no point in us going and trying to grab that Buna air base and some of the other targets that were, down here if we're going to gain control of them all anyway, I think. Well, you know what, we'll find out what the the example says in a minute. So if M was a yes, then we got to roll 1d10. Oh, okay, so this is where some randomization comes into it. So it's got a note 5 there though. If war in Europe positive and war in Europe available, automatic event strategy, otherwise rolls indicated. War in Europe's not positive and we don't have a War in Europe card, so I don't think that would... So we're looking for a dice roll there. So let's just see if we're going down the right road to start with. Yeah, I see a dice roll anyway, so what was it? M was the one I was looking for. Has a defence perimeter strategy objective number 1 been achieved? And they've said yes to that, right enough. So it must be satisfied, even though we've not went into the national status thing to actually gain control of them all. Okay, so and then right, they roll a dice and they get a dice roll of 0. So I'll just jump back there to the chart. So dice roll of 0 says event strategy. So probably just wants to try and play the event card. Event strategy. Yeah, so that's up the top here. Here's the one. Yeah, this is the one that I noticed others. So if you had a War in Europe card, or if ISR was an issue for either parties. Oh, well, actually, we have. Hang on, we do have an ISR card. Yeah, we're going to use that, are we not, Grant? Yeah, I think I get down to the bottom maybe after that. Yeah, because we've got... So, we've no War in Europe card, and Japan is not in ISR. The card that we've got is putting the US in ISR, which is number 3. ISR create if allies under strategic agreement, else put it in the FOQ. Well, they're not in strategic... they are in strategic agreement. So I'm pretty sure we want to play this event and then put them in ISR. So just to... maybe doesn't understand all that. So this says US Army / Navy dispute, so US reinforcements. Flip the US inter-service rivalry marker from its strategic agreement to its inter-service rivalry side. No additional impact if inter-service rivalry is already in effect. And the good thing about this is it also gets to draw 1 strategy card. So my guess is that that's what's going to happen. And just looking on. So the die roll has spoken, it says, and the last Japanese card, US Army Navy dispute, gets played for event. This puts the allies in ISR and lands a card draw for the Japanese, which reveals card number 33, Imperial Intervention. Okay, so we play this card for the ISR, and then what that does is we take that wee counter and flip it over to its other side, and that says the US are in inter-service rivalry, which means now that when you go to activate, you can only activate US Navy units or US Army units. You can't activate both. Obviously, if you can activate other units like Commonwealth units, that they don't come into that. It's just the US side of it. So he plays this card, and then that doesn't get removed from the game either. That just gets discarded, and he gets to draw a new card. And this is the card that he draws. I'll just let you see it. So there's a card that's drawn. Imperial intervention. Oh, this event ends a Japanese inter-service rivalry. So, well, I was going to go back to the Allies here. So as long as they do nothing, it's more than likely we're going to put this into future offensives, I would think. Okay. Right, and then moving on to the next Allied one. Again, I'll not go back to the thing. They're going to pass again. So, as they've got one pass left. So that's them run out all their passes. They still have one card left. But because the Japanese just drew a new card there, they've got another card to deal with as well. So let's go back and see what they're going to do this time. Okay, so A is yes, they're all out of supply. B is no, because I've not got all the DI surrender objectives yet. And then, well, we know that C is, does Japan have 3 or more cards? We've got 1 card, so that's a no. G is it game turn 3 away or no? And then we're going to cycle through all these C's again, which are all no's, and get right down to M yet again. And has a defensive perimeter strategy objective for number 1 been achieved? It has, yes. So we're going to roll a dice again. So let's quickly see what they're going to get. So yes, we get right down to roll 1d10. They get a D. They get an 8 this time. We'll just jump back and see if we can work it out. So 7 to 9 is Central Pacific Strategy. Okay, so this is something new, I think. So Central Pacific Strategy says Northwest New Guinea, I guess would be. I'm looking for another box. Yeah, there it's there. Right, so no notes up to now. Central Pacific Strategy, Northwest New Guinea, and Northwest New Guinea is just down here. So we're looking at Sarong, Vogelkop, and Biak. So, yeah, well, I don't see, there's not any reason why they can't maybe be trying to go for these. There's Sarong, Vogelkop, and there's Biak. Biak's got that naval unit in it. So, yeah, I guess it's going to try and do something about that. So, well, let's look at the playthrough. Okay, so I think it does a bit of overriding here. I did think this card just got put in the FO, doesn't it? Yeah. So, well, what it's saying here, this is, again, one of these moments where it says attacking into the Central Pacific with Imperial intervention as an OC play doesn't make any real sense at this point in the turn. So I'm going to go with he's going to go with 1d10 rolls and strategy selection guideline detailed earlier. So let me just get that up. So this section there, it's near the beginning, it's on page 4. And yeah, 1d10 rolls and strategy selection. It says it is intentional that Erasmus can change strategies as each card is played in any given turn. However, if given the board state you determine that the 1d10 roll resolves to an inferior strategy than what was selected previously among the random selection of options, then continue with a superior strategy for multiple cards until it plays out. Or, if you prefer the random factor, add or subtract 2 from the die roll in the direction of the superior strategy. So, well, let's just see before we go back there where that dice roll, if it's just adjusting the dice roll. Well, what it went the last time was it went event strategy, didn't it? But we went Central Pacific strategy there. We could have went CBI strategy, which I guess would have been a similar kind of position to be in, because they're looking at Burma surrender and then Burma surrender means that we need to like be going for Rangoon, which I'm not quite sure we're ready for that yet. So I guess if they'd rolled that, they would have reverted back to thinking this is the best strategy anyway. So let's just see how it finishes off by saying that though. That's another one of these moments where I'm going to find it kind of difficult to deal with, I think. Making decisions like this is just not really my thing, but ever. I understand it in this game. It's just, you know, I mean, to have created, I mean, I just not long played right through John Butterfield's Enemy Action Ardennes, playing German solo and Allied solo, and it's just as heavy a game. I feel it's just as heavy a game, but the main heaviness of that game comes with the AI. It is, you know, it takes everything into consideration, and you can see some parts where it maybe struggles along a bit, but a lot of the bits are kind of maybe not intentional, but sometimes the AI will make a suboptimal move, but they benefit in other areas from the moves, and you're quite glad when it makes certain moves like that, and it doesn't often make moves like that. Why am I going down this rabbit hole? I don't know. I'm just wondering if an AI could be built into a game like this, similar, but I don't think so. I think this is the way, what they've done here is probably the way to do it, you know. I think because the way everyone moves about, you can move from, well, you know, 15 hex moves, sometimes more than that, with strategic movement and all that, and it's like, I don't know if all that could be built into a proper AI where everything is dealt with by a chart or a rule or something. So yeah, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's the way I would prefer all my games to be. I suppose that something was telling me that the AI will do this, rather than have me say, right, this doesn't look like the best play, let's do something else, or let's revert. But I understand it. I just hope you can understand what I'm saying. Anyway, so it says I'm going to go with 1d10 rules and strategy selection guideline detailed earlier, and continue the event strategy that was rolled last card play. So I guess going by what he said, what he's saying there is he's reverting back to what happened the last time. So it's not that he's picking any other option, he's just picking what happened before. So, I mean, what if this event card wasn't any good? I don't know, maybe. No, because it's going to look at the event card and it's going to do something good with it, so it does make sense. I think initially I was thinking that he's overriding this, he's looking at the card and he's saying, oh, it would be better if we played the event, rather than saying we're just going back to the strategy before, which was play the event, and then go and look at the card and see if that's a satisfactory thing to do with it. And it turns out that it is, but I'm just wondering if I could be in another position where this event card wasn't really doing anything beneficial, and then thinking, oh, right, what do I do now? But maybe that's not ever going to be the case. I don't know. So, and then it says this will put Imperial Intervention into the FOQ and finish out the turn for the Japanese. Well, let's just double check that. So we go event strategy instead, and then the event strategy is that box up there. So it says war in Europe. Well, it's not a war in Europe. Inter-service rivalry end if inter-service rivalry end if Japan under inter-service rivalry. That's what this card does. However, they're not under inter-service rivalry, so they'll put it in their forward offensive queue. Is that right? Forward offensive queue. FOQ anyway. I think that's what it stands for. So as you can see there, this event ends a Japanese inter-service rivalry. You would flip it over, and then if they were already on the strategic agreement side, there's no additional effect. It does have a bonus down there. It says if this card is played as an event, Japanese have the option to discard a card of their choice and replace it with any card from the discard pile, not one removed from play. Okay. I wonder how the AI would get around that then. I'm not sure. I don't think I've came across anything that mentions anything about. I guess that would possibly have to be you stepping in again, and because it sounds like a powerful bonus, that really, you know. The Japanese have the option to discard a card. Oh, well, you're having to discard a card of your choice as well. Ooh, right, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do there then. I mean, I suppose I could look at the hand and sort of say, well, that card that we discarded and it done all this was really good, and yet this card we've got here is not really that good. I certainly don't feel like I've came across anything that could make a decision for you. Yeah. Whether you could randomise a roll of dice somehow or whatever. Anyway, okay, well, we'll hope we don't get that situation. So that gets put into the FOQ as well, and that's both the Allies and the Japanese got a card in FOQ. So finally, we still have one Allied card, which because they pass the last two turns. So let's just go back to the axis of determination. Still opening phase. So do the Allies have 3 more cards? No. F plus G, do the Allies have 1 or more passes? No. So we don't even need to look at G. H plus I. Is this the last Allied card play of the turn? It is. I, is this game turn 3 or later? No, it's not. So we still continue down to no. Event strategy. And the wee note, play events in this order. Well, they've got a card in future offensive queue. So event strategy is, yeah, so this is the part, I suppose we get to the others part then. We've not got a War in Europe, we've not got Anti-Service Rival, we've not got Dual Little Raid, we've not got Bataan. And then others, well, we do have another event, and then if no FOQ, put event that is not playable at this time into the FOQ. So if we didn't have an FOQ, we would put it in. However, if we didn't have an FOQ, this card's playable. So my guess would be that we wouldn't put this in the FOQ, because it does insist that if no FOQ, put event that is not playable at this time into the FOQ. So I'm just saying if we didn't have an FOQ card already, we would still play this as the event. That's how I read that anyway, I think. Pretty sure that's right. So, and then, yeah, we looked at this before. Basically says, ally player immediately receives 1 permanent amphibious shipping point, and then we would remove that card from play as an event. So, if they gain 1 more amphibious shipping point, and that card's removed from play, and we're all done, I think. So let's just double check how that finished. Yeah, event strategy. Final card for the Allies, Edwin Booz, gets played for the event, which permanently increases the ASP for the Allies by 1. This card is powerful when it comes out on turn 2, as it will add a large number of available ASP to the Allies over the course of the rest of the game. Not quite sure. I get that. I mean, it's adding 1, isn't it? I understand it's good to get early on, but... yeah, no. That's true. Yeah, okay, I do get it. There must be a wee marker to track their ASPs as well, I've obviously not put that out yeah, I do get it, because wasn't quite grasping that at first. How's it giving them so many for white throughout the game? Because they're going to get. There, I found the wee marker there. I didn't have this one. They're now going to get 2 every turn. So that's every turn. However, they're going to gain 1 next turn as well. So rather than be at 2, they're now going to jump to 3 in the next turn, and then the next turn before. So it does increase it right away, and that's why it states. Which, okay, I was challenging that. You shouldn't do that, Grant. I think Mr. Herman knows what he's on about. This card is powerful when it comes out in turn 2, as it will add a large number of available ASP to the allies over the course of the rest of the game. Yeah, I suppose when it says over the course of the rest of the game, you should take that for what it means, Grant. Okay, so it says, in summary, this was a good first turn for the Japanese. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. They managed to make solid progress in the DEI and set up Malaya and the Philippines to fall next turn. This outcome isn't too surprising given the strength of the turn 2 Japanese hand, but don't count the allies out. As soon as the reinforcements start rolling, and future turns will see the Japanese holding on for survival. Play it out and see. Enjoy. Okay, we made it to the end anyway. So yeah, I mean, it's probably reasonably typical of the end of turn 2, but in a strong way, I think, for the Japanese. I think it does look, a few of the playthroughs that I've looked at, it's not necessarily the case where they get the whole of the Solomon Islands and, you know, maybe have such a strong foothold in all the other areas and whatever. But who knows? Maybe this is a sort of common ending to the turn 2. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's still, it is going to be a challenge, this, for me. I think I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to manage this, as I've said a few times. I would like to try, but I can see myself just struggling along, and then over onto BGG. I mean, I can get so much information from the rules and that playthrough. I might be able to find answers to some questions, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be. And I'll find normal rules questions, but I suppose it just comes down to when the AI are wanting to do something, and yeah, I know I've got to make the decision. You know, I'll grab this army from up there and move it down and whatever. But yeah, hopefully that still holds my attention with that, because it might just throw me having to make too many choices for the AI, which yeah, okay, right. Anyway, I'll cut this here and leave it at that. So you'll probably not see anything more for quite some time, unless I really get into it, really get going with it, and it's really smooth, and then I might feel I've got to chuck a video out there just to make sure I'm not making mistakes, to let somebody maybe comment on, you know, where I'm going wrong. But I think it's probably more likely that I'll play through quite a lot before I actually upload anything, just to see if I'm feeling like I can make it happen, because then I might just not upload the footage, because I felt the stuff I uploaded for Fire in the Lake was a bit of a waste, and it's just sitting there kind of like not go anywhere really, and I'd rather not have that situation again. Anyway, well, hope it was of some use to some of you, but if not, it's like I say, these are mainly for myself to try and understand the games better, and get better at them as well. And we can see some of the strategies for the Japanese there. maybe not so much for the Allies, although we did see the whole, what was it, moving units about in Burma to try and get the defence in Burma sorted. I can see some of the sense in that, and clearly Rangoon's a very important part of that. So I will be taking over as the Allies if I do continue. So I'll be wanting to try I dare say some of the moves might look like, oh yeah, you're just remembering what the bot done, but yeah, I suppose maybe. But what is it? They put that strong Indian unit in there, didn't they? Does seem to make some sense, but yeah. There's lots of other things to think about, I think. Anyway, okay, I'll leave this for now, and hopefully be back with more Empire of the Sun, but we shall see. Okay, cheers.